The regular session, and do we hear a motion on the executive session, item 1, posted for possible council action to authorize the motion? Go ahead.
Mayor, I motion the city attorney is authorized to pursue nuisance abatement as discussed in executive session and to engage outside counsel or experts to assist in such pursuit in an amount not to exceed $100,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? City Secretary Hicks, will you please poll the council?
Lozano?
Yes.
Borderood?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes, and we will now call the business session of August 19, 2025 to order at 6:03 p.m. All council members are present except for Councilmember Chase, and Mayor Pro Tem Barefield is actually attending virtually. We're going to start this meeting tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. First item of business tonight to consider the minutes of the August 5th, 2025 regular city council meeting. These minutes were provided at your meeting packet. Are there any corrections? We have no corrections, so the minutes stand approved as submitted. Next item to consider tonight is public hearing 2025-560. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution granting a special permit to China Spring Farmers and Crafters for a farmer's market in R1B Single Family Zoning District on property known as 12301 Yankee Road. By a vote of 9-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the request, subject to special provisions and conditions, and based on the following findings: that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan and purposes and intent of Chapter 28 zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, that the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it's located, that the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics than any use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of the special exception, and that available community facilities and services, including the road system providing access to the proposed use, are adequate for the proposed use.
Thank you, Director Peters. Any questions for Clint on this item?
And I'm admittedly and maybe ashamedly not super familiar with this location. Can you help me with my bearings here? Are these the schools that we're seeing down here on the bottom left of the screen?
Yeah, so on North River Crossing, you
Yeah.
have the high school, and then this is the church. It's right on the very edge of our city limits on China Spring.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? We're now going to open a public hearing for comments, and we do have one card. Joanne Martinez, would you please approach the podium? And as you get here, would you state your name and address for the record? And when you get up here, you'll have 3 minutes, Ms. Martinez.
Thank you. My name is Joanne Martinez, 5621 Plantation Drive, Waco, Texas, 76708. I just wanted to say the primary objective of these markets is to provide the community with a platform to engage with local artisans, fostering a distinctive culture where the China Spring Farmers and Crafters markets are exclusively sourced with the local artisans and also small businesses. This venue is where individuals can make informed decisions, and it's a place to reconnect. A fundamental building block that creates a stronger connection to the surrounding neighbors, families, friends, and of course the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Is there anyone else present who'd like to speak on this item? Seeing no speakers, we'll close the public hearing. Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? There being none, City Secretary Hicks, will you please poll the council?
Lozano?
Yes.
Borderoud?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is public hearing 2025-561. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution granting a special permit to Jordan Yarborough for a short-term rental type 1 and R1B zoning on property located at 2919 Gorman Avenue. By a vote of 9-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the request based on the following findings: that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan and purposes and intent of Chapter 28 zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, that the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate northerly development of the area in which it's located, that the proposed use is not more objectionable to neighboring properties with traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics than any use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of special exception, and that available community facilities and services, including the road system providing access to the proposed use, are adequate for the proposed use.
Thank you, Clint. Are there any questions for Director Peters?
Yes, Mayor, I've got one. For the special permit for the STR1, I know the owner has to occupy the residence. Is it true that the owner must be there during the duration of the stay for the guests as well?
So either the owner or designated operator has to be on site for that. And then for a type 1, it can only be rented out to one group at a time. So they're proposing to rent out 2 bedrooms, but it would have to be to one group, and they would have to be,
renter.
them or the operator would have to be on site.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? There being none, I'll open a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone present who'd like to speak on this request? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? City Secretary Hicks, would you please poll the council?
Lozano? Yes. Borderoud?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. Next item to consider is public hearing 2025-562. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution approving Hilltop Heights Addition Final Plan Unit Development Plan consisting of 63 single-family residential lots on property beginning approximately 350 feet southeast of the intersection of Loop 340 and Kendall Lane on approximately 10.71 acres situated in the Thomas de la Vega Survey, Abstract 42, McLennan County, Texas. By a vote of 9-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the final PUD based on the following findings and conditions. The findings are the final PUD is consistent with the approved concept PUD plan, conditions of the concept PUD plan, and the requirements of the PUD ordinance. And 2, the circulation plan, public facilities and service plan, preliminary architectural plan, and site development and landscaping plan included in the final PUD are adequate. We do have 2 conditions. One, the final PUD plan meets all the development standards consistent with the approved concept plan and the site drainage of the plan review committee, including but not limited to the following: site grading and drainage, floodplain engineering design for water and sewer, signage regulations, parking, site coverage, access and circulation, landscaping, refuse location and access, and fire protection location and access. And then the property shall be platted in accordance with the subdivision ordinance prior to the issuance of any building permits.
Thanks, Director Peters. Are there any questions for staff?
And then I do have a couple extra slides that shows the development for the PUD compared to the previous zoning R1B. The difference between the new PUD zoning and the R1B zoning is 49 lots to 63 lots, so a difference of 14 lots. There are some different setback requirements, and then there'll be sidewalks on both sides of all the streets internal to the development, and then a sidewalk connecting the development to Buena Vista Park Trail, which under the existing or previous zoning R1B, there would only be sidewalk required on one side of the collector street inside the development. And then here's the facades for that. There is on our residential design standards, there is a facade variation requirement that requires 6 different varied facades throughout the subdivision, and they have met those with ease. That's all I have, yep.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Director Peters on this item? Being none, I will now open a public hearing for comments, and I do have a couple of cards here, but I will give the applicant, will present first. I see Larry Jackson in the back. Larry, would you like to come forward? As you get to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to address the council. Mr. Jackson.
All right, thanks, sir. Larry W. Jackson, 13004 Rainier Drive, Woodway, Texas, 76712. I just asked City Council to approve the final plat and the PUD. We have met all the conditions for Planning Commission and engineering. Everything has been submitted to planning and been approved. Everything has been submitted to engineering and approved and the required number of sets of plans that engineering asked for have been submitted. So we're just waiting on y'all's final approval to actually get started. I appreciate it. Any questions?
Do you have any questions? Nope.
No questions. I will just say before you depart, Mr. Jackson, that I think the first meeting you came to present at, we had a lot of pushback for you. And it was not the smoothest interaction, and I appreciate you being consistent through that and working with our team to get the requirements that we put in place met, and showing that you're serious about this project and wanted to see it done and see it done right. So thank you for that, and appreciate your willingness to work with staff and get us everything we needed.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Yes, we do our best to try to work with, I've known Clint for 25 years and most everybody down there for a very long time in engineering. We try to do our best to put in the best projects everywhere we go. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Are there any other proponents out there that would like to speak on this item? I now have a card on an opponent from Telly Ramsey. Telly Ramsey, are you here? Ms. Ramsey is here. Ms. Ramsey, as you approach the podium, when you get there, please state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to address council.
Hi, my name is Telly Ramsey. I live at 4101 Hermosa Drive, Waco, Texas, 76705. I live in a Timbercrest neighborhood. Our neighborhood recognizes the importance of adding housing in Waco. We know the city is growing, and we want growth that is sustainable, inclusive, and forward-thinking. But the Hilltop Heights, as proposed, does not align with those values and with the city of Waco. And approving it without major adjustments would put the burden of poor planning on the very residents you were elected to represent. This development is being presented as serving lower-income families, but starting prices at $250,000 do not match that description. What it really offers are tiny houses on tiny lots, sometimes 5 squeezed onto the sides of a single Timbercrest lot, like you can see in the previous pictures that were up there. Sold at a premium. That is not affordability, and it is not innovation. It is the kind of short-sighted packing of people like sardines that leads to gridlock and declining quality of life, the very path that has made cities like Houston so difficult to live in. Waco can and should do better. The cost will fall to the neighborhoods around it. All traffic will flow out of Hermosa Drive. That's the road that's next to the park. Then on to Madeira, Post Oak, and Crow. Madeira already backs up every evening when teams use the park for baseball, soccer, and football practice. When you add Hilltop Heights, and families will be trapped in traffic just to get home. Madeira and Post Oak streets are narrow and crumbling, while Kendall and Orchard, which must carry the traffic out toward Belmead and downtown, where most people will be going to work and to get their shopping, are already overstressed with vehicles from South Fork neighborhood. All of this will collide with planned construction on East Loop 340 that is set to begin right as the new homes would be coming onto the market. The impacts go beyond traffic. The developer is clear-cutting large numbers of trees. I heard mention of landscaping, but I have not heard any planning for replacing that. Our summers in Central Texas are brutal and will only be getting worse. Shade is not a luxury in Waco that we can afford. It is a necessity. And we urge the city to require replacement planting for what is being destroyed. It's the Timbercrest neighborhood. We value our trees. There are also serious drainage concerns that I've heard some addressing, but given previous developments, we have concerns in the neighborhood since this will be overlooking us and the height will be draining right down into the Timbercrest neighborhood in the Buena Vista Heights subdivision. Timbercrest is not against growth. We're asking for growth that is responsible, safe, and sustainable. So that means, again, number one, require infrastructure upgrades to Hermosa, Madeira, Post Oak, Crow, Kendall, and Orchard before this project moves forward. Please require tree replacement, number two, and real drainage solutions to protect, and hold developers accountable to produce truly affordable houses on reasonably sized lots, not expensive sprawl disguised as affordability. Thank you for your time. We have to live with these decisions that you guys make every day, so thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ramsey. We have another card here from Michelle Abel. Miss Abel. As you approach the podium, when you get there, please state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes when you start. Miss Abel?
Hello, my name is Michelle Abel. I live at 2600 Kendall Lane. Excessive speeding and cut-through traffic have caused continuous problems in our neighborhood of Timbercrest since the South Fork neighborhood has been cut in, and especially with the construction that goes on around Waco. We have begged repeatedly for help with speed control, speed bumps, or officers to enforce our neighborhood speed limits. We've been told that law enforcement is spread too thin. Our fence personally has been run through by speeding traffic. I've been rear-ended pulling into my driveway by someone going at a very high rate of speed, and was thrown into my driveway at 50 feet. The other residences' fences have been run through repeatedly as well. One, particularly on Kendall, has been run through a beautiful ornate fence 3 times in the last 2 years. We're asking that the city please consider that Orchard Lane and Kendall Lane are not appropriately suited to handle the increased traffic load that Hilltop Heights, together with South Fork, have already stressed that they have already placed on our neighborhood, as well as Crow, the streets that cut between Berkshire, or between Kendall and Orchard, which are Crow, Berkshire, and Alston. We thank you, and we ask that you please consider this before approving this development. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Abel. Are there anyone else present who'd like to speak on this particular item? That's all the cards. I'll now allow time for a rebuttal by the applicant. Mr. Jackson, if you'd like, he was waiving his right to rebuttal. Since there's no one here to speak, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
We have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion. City Secretary Hicks, will you please poll the council?
Lozano? Yes. Borderoud?
Yes.
Bearfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is public hearing 2025-563. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of the code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so that certain property on approximately .0186 acres described as Lot 1, Block 1, the Wallet and Riley Edition, known as 1414 Spade Avenue, shall be changed from C2 district classification and be designated into R2 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finally determining the meeting which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 9-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the change based on the following findings. Proposed zoning aligns with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. The property meets all the area and width requirements for R2 zoning. The existing public infrastructure is adequate to accommodate the uses allowed in R2 zoning. The proposed rezoning supports the goals of the Waco Strategic Housing Plan by increasing the supply of residentially zoned properties, enhancing opportunities for new housing development. And the R2 zoning is present in the vicinity of the subject property, consistent with the surrounding area.
Thank you, Director Peters. Any questions for staff?
I guess, yeah, it seems like it should have just stayed R2 or been R2, so. What, has it historically been C2 just because of the adjoining?
Yeah, I don't know exactly the history of it, but it is a lot that's sized for R2. It's got
Yeah.
a house on it. It really shouldn't have been zone C2 to begin with.
Yeah.
Is that the legal non-conforming?
Yes, it's a legal non-conforming. This would actually bring the existing house into conformance with the zoning ordinance.
Good question. Any other questions for Clint? I'll now open a public hearing for comments. Is anyone present who'd like to speak on this request? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move.
You have a motion?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Hicks, will you please poll the council?
Lozano? Yes. Waterroot?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is public hearing 2025-564. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the city of Waco, Texas, providing that the code of ordinances be amended by revising section 28-247 and chapter 28 zoning of the code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so that certain property on approximately 1.11 acres described as lots 6 through 8, block 1 of the Beacon Hill addition known as 1805 Monte Vista Street and 4504 Bagby Avenue shall be changed from R1B district classification, becoming to be designated into O3 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finally determining the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 9-0, Plan Commission recommend approval. The change based on the following findings: proposed zoning is keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. The public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in O3 zoning. Property meets all the area and width requirements for O3 zoning. There's O3 zoning in the vicinity of the property. And then the office use permitted in O3 can provide a buffer between residential uses located to the north and commercial zoning towards the south of the property.
Any questions for staff on this hearing? None. I will now open a public hearing for comments. Is anyone present out there who'd like to speak regarding this request? Seeing no speakers, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval?
Motion and second. We'll now have some discussion. Any discussion? There being none, City Secretary Hicks, would you please poll the council?
Lozano? Yes. Waterroot?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is public hearing 2025-565. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the city of Waco, Texas, providing that the code of ordinances be amended by revising section 28-247 and chapter 28 zoning of the code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so that certain property on approximately 0.578 acres described as lot 1B, block F of the Coleridge addition, known as 1210 Lake Air Drive, be rezoned from C3 district classification and become to be designated into O3 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finding to determine that meeting which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 9-0, Plan Commission recommended approval. The change based on the following findings: proposed zoning is keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. Public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in O3. Property meets all area and width requirements for O3, and O3 is in the vicinity of subject property.
Any questions for staff? I'll now open a public hearing for comments. Is there anyone present who'd like to speak regarding this item? Seeing no speakers, we'll close that public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this public hearing? There being none, I will ask City Secretary Hicks to please poll the council.
Lozano? Yes. Waterroot?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is public hearing 2025-566. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the city of Waco, Texas, providing that the code of ordinances be amended by revising section 28-247 and chapter 28 zoning of the code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed to a certain property of approximately 1.313 acres described as lot 3, block 1, Lene Ranch addition known as 4305 Flat Rock Road be rezoned from open space to urban residential and from R1B district classification to R2 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finding a determinant that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote 9-0, Plan Commission recommended approval. The land use change based on the following findings: the existing and planned public infrastructure is sufficient to support the zoning districts permitted under the proposed urban residential, and the subject property is adjacent to a collector, Flat Rock Road, which is conducive to higher density land use designation. Plan Commission also recommended approval of the zoning. The proposed zoning aligns with the land use component of the comprehensive plan as revised. Property meets all the area and width requirements for R2 zoning. Infrastructure is adequate to accommodate for uses in R2 zoning. The building height requirements, setback requirements for R2 zoning are equivalent to the adjacent R1B requirements. The proposed rezoning supports the goals of the housing plan by increasing supply of density of residentially zoned properties. And then R2 zoning is present in the vicinity of the subject property, consistent with the surrounding neighborhood.
Thank you, Director Peters. Any questions for Clint or his staff? I'll now open a public hearing for comments. Is anyone present who'd like to speak regarding this request? Seeing no speakers, we'll close that public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval, Mayor.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? There being none, I will ask City Secretary Hicks, will you please poll the council?
Lozano?
Yes.
Waterroot?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is the consent agenda. The consent agenda tonight includes resolutions 2025-567 through 588, except for resolution 2025-567, which was pulled from the agenda. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Move for approval?
I'll second that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Bearfield. We got a second in there. Any discussion? No further discussion. City Secretary Hicks, will you please poll the council?
Lozano?
Yes.
Waterroot?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. The next item on the agenda is ordinance 2025-589. City Attorney Hamilton Carroll, will you
An
please?
ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, amending Section 18-83 and Chapter 18 Personnel of said code, providing for the number of police officers, police sergeants, police commanders, and assistant police chiefs authorized by the City Council, providing a savings clause, providing for an inclusion in the code, finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 vote on first reading on August 5th, 2025.
Thank you, City Attorney. Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this one? This one's kind of cool, and we're taking a good, public safety, very important for all of us here on council. We are increasing our police department strength by 2 from 37 to 39, and appreciate all the work of Waco PD. City Secretary Hicks, will you please poll the council?
Lozano?
Yes.
Waterroot?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is ordinance 2025-590, City Attorney Hamilton Carroll.
An ordinance establishing administrative departments of the City of Waco, Texas, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a savings clause, providing for an effective date, and providing and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 vote on first reading on August 5th, 2025.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval on second reading.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Hicks, will you please poll the council?
Lozano?
Yes.
Waterroot?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. Ordinance number 2025-591 is next. City Attorney Hamilton Carroll.
An ordinance amending Chapter 28 zoning, Article 4, Division 31, Special District Riverway Overlay District for the City of Waco by amending the ordinance to include the definition of cottage residential and providing reference to the most recently adopted Riverway Design Book and amending the Riverway Design Book by adding the cottage residential product as an allowable housing type and revising the concept plan street layout, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for penalties, and finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 council vote on first reading on August 5th, 2025.
Do I hear a motion on the second reading?
Move for approval on second reading.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Hicks, please poll the council.
Lozano? Yes. Borderood?
Yes.
Bearfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. Next item to consider is ordinance 2025-592, City Attorney Hamilton Carroll.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Waco, Texas, changing the street name of a portion of 42nd Street between Colcord Avenue and Bosque Boulevard in the City of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, to Lions Way, authorizing the changing of the street plan to reflect the name, authorizing the changing of the City of Waco maps, and providing for new street signs, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-0 council vote on first reading on August 5th, and all other previously read ordinances were 5-0 vote on August 5th also. Thank you.
Do I hear a motion on second reading?
Mayor, having dropped my son off on Lions Way this morning for cross-country practice, I move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. So now we have some time for discussion. Yeah, this is Lions Way. Now, what was the old name? Was it 42nd? It's a portion of 42nd. It's the one that goes in from Bosque right into the school. So we're renaming it Lions Way. And even though George Chase isn't here tonight, he's an alumni, and so I wanted to make sure we read him into the record too. But it's kind of a cool thing we're doing. The new high school's over there just opened last week. So this is kind of fun. Any other discussion on that? We will now take this to a vote. City Secretary Hicks, please poll the council.
Lozano? Borderood?
Yes.
Bearfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. Next item to consider is ordinance 2025-593, City Attorney Hamilton Carroll.
An ordinance revising Chapter 28 zoning of the Waco Code of Ordinances at Section 28-1 of Article 1 in general, at Section 28-132 of Division 6 amendments, supplements, changes of zoning ordinance, special permits of Article 2 administration, and at Section 28-151 of Section 7 public hearings of Article 2 administration to make amendments related to protests and procedures for changes to a zoning regulation or district boundary in compliance with revisions to the Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 211, per House Bill Number 24 of the 89th regular legislative session, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, providing for an effective date, and finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-0 council vote on first reading on August 5th, 2025.
Do I hear a motion on second reading?
Move for approval on second reading, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? This is the first of, I think, the next two are also, we're making our city ordinances compliant with new legislation that passed in this past session. So this is the first of three. City Secretary Hicks, will you please poll the council?
Lozano? Yes. Borderood?
Yes.
Bearfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. Next item to consider is ordinance 2025-594, City Attorney Hamilton Carroll.
An ordinance revising Chapter 28 zoning of the Waco Code of Ordinances at Section 28-1, Article 1 in general, at Section 28-928 of Division 3 accessory structures and uses of Article 5 supplementary district regulations to make amendments related to home occupations in compliance with revisions to the Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 211, per House Bill Number 2464 of the 89th regular legislative session, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for penalties, providing for a savings clause, providing a severabilities clause, providing for an effective date, and finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-0 council vote on first reading on August 5th, 2025.
Is there a motion on second reading?
Move for approval on second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Hicks, please poll the council.
Lozano? Yes. Waterroot?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is ordinance 2025-595, City Attorney Hamilton Carroll.
An ordinance revising Chapter 28 zoning of the Waco Code of Ordinances at Section 28-1 of Article 1 in general, and adding Section 28-970.6.1 as new Division 10 dwelling unit occupancy requirements of Article 5 supplementary district regulations to make amendments related to the occupancy of dwelling units in compliance with revisions to the Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 211, per Senate Bill Number 1567 of the 89th Regular Legislative Session, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for penalties, providing for a savings clause, finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-0 council vote on first reading on August 5th, 2025.
Is there a motion on second reading?
Move for approval on second reading.
Move for approval on second reading.
Second on second
We have a
reading.
motion and a second. Is there any discussion? City Secretary Hicks, please poll the council.
Lozano? Yes. Waterroot?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. Next item to consider is ordinance 2025-596, City Attorney Hamilton Carroll.
An ordinance revising Chapter 28 zoning of the Waco City Code of Ordinances at Section 28-1, Article 1 in general, at Section 28-624 of Division 16C-2 Community Commercial District of Article 4 District Regulations to add a definition for wholesale buying club and to allow a wholesale buying club as a special permitted use in the C2 Community Commercial District, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, providing for an effective date, and finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-0 council vote on first reading on August 5th, 2025.
Is there a motion on second reading?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Hicks, please poll the council.
Lozano? Yes. Waterroot?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Holmes?
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is the hearing of visitors. During the hearing of visitors section of the agenda, we provide an opportunity for the public to present concerns or address issues that are not matters for consideration listed on the agenda. The council is unable to conduct a discussion, but we'll listen. We'll ask staff to look into concerns and provide follow-up. Please provide registration information so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation, and staff will distribute those to the council. If you're unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. We have a couple of cards here, so we will, when I call you to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and each speaker will limit comments to 3 minutes. If you're speaking on behalf of a group of 10 or more individuals present, please have those persons stand at the beginning of your comments. You'll be given 10 minutes to address council. Please note that if you stand in support of a person getting 10 minutes to speak, you are forfeiting your right to speak on that item. For any person addressing the council through the use of a translator, the speaking time will be doubled to accommodate the translation services. While public discourse is very important to this council, we have to maintain order in the meeting so that all persons may be heard and city business may be conducted. If so directed by me, the Sergeant at Arms shall remove from the council meeting any person who, while addressing the city council or while attending the city council meeting, makes personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, if they become boisterous, or if they make unauthorized remarks from the audience, clapping hands, stomping feet, whistling, yelling, or making similar demonstrations. Again, we've got a couple of cards here. The first card is from Randy Ailman. Randy, Mr. Ailman. You approach the podium. When you get there, state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Randy Alleman. I'm a City of Waco retiree. I'm representing myself tonight. I'm here to talk about a cost of living adjustment for myself personally. I've had some challenges in recent years. City Manager Ford reached out to me recently. We chatted on the phone. We had a great conversation. I've served in Waco at about almost 40 and a half years, retired just over 10 and a half years ago. And even though I'm a retired supervisor, I get hit with inflation just like everybody else has, okay? And the computer says that since January 31st of 2015, I've lost about 34.4% in purchasing power, according to the computer. So that's why I'm here asking for the council's support and management's support for a better cost of living adjustment for myself and my family. In your August 5th council presentation, you guys noted sticky inflation is still here this year and next year as well. In 2022, I lost my dear wife, Carol, so I lost the income she had. Of course, I just mentioned the inflation. My IRS taxes went up, property taxes went up, and of course, everybody knows everything else went up as well. So when I retired in January of 15, in July of 2016, kind of self-serving, I sent my first email about a cost of living adjustment. So even though I'd been retired only a year and a half, it was time to start asking, okay? I didn't realize it would take quite this long, but I guess that concern or torch the bear or passion or whatever you want to attach to my fervor for the last 3 years, call it what you will. So I need or would like to see the city restore a 70% retroactive repeating COLA for myself and others. We actually had most of that, the better part of a 20-year time period many years ago, from about 1992 to 2012. Even though the 70% retroactive repeating COLA is the highest you can get, keep in mind that it's always 13 months behind in real time with the current effects of inflation, and we only, if approved, can recapture up to 70% of the inflation. We never recapture 100% of the inflation. So it's just, I need your help, and of course, others need your help. We'd like to see it approved, if funding permits, this coming January of 2026. So that's really the bulk of what I wanted to say tonight, and thank you for your time. And if anyone has any questions, now's your chance. I'm available.
Thank you, Mr. Ailman. I appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate your service to the city as well. Sure. We have one more card here, Mr. Austin Hall. See you're out there tonight. Mr. Hall, as you approach the podium, just state your name when you get there, and you will have 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. My name is Austin Hall. I live at 319 North 2nd Street West, Mount Calm, Texas, 76673, sorry. Mayor Holmes and council members, as I've told you before, my partner is a part of the LGBT community. My mother works for the McLennan County ARC. I've seen how exclusion can harm people, and I've seen how inclusion makes them stronger. Waco has about 200 people experiencing homelessness on a single night. Over 16,900 residents live with some sort of disability, mental or physical. State data shows 1 in 11 Texas residents, adults, identify it as an LGBTQ member. Here in Waco, that would be approximately 13,000 residents. The city boasts a near 25% individual poverty rate and a near 15%, and near 15% of families fall below the poverty line as of December 2024. That was during the work session. That puts over 30,000 individuals and nearly 4,500 families under the poverty line, which far exceeds the state average of nearly 14% of individuals, and same for families. All of these states include the nearly 30% of the population that is under the age of 18 and also accounts for the near 13% of our population that is over the age of 65. These are our neighbors, coworkers, family members, and when people are excluded, costs rise. Homelessness drives police and hospital spending. Inaccessible spaces reduce workforce participation, and discrimination sends residents and talents away. I ask you to act now. Expand non-discrimination protections beyond city employees to housing, public programs, and contracts. Increase low-barrier shelter beds and prioritize housing-first placements. Fund a mobile crisis team pairing mental health professionals with first responders. Enforce ADA access across all public spaces and our public transit. These steps are practical, they will reduce cost, keep people working, and help Waco grow. I urge you to put these priorities at the top of your agenda and commit to measurable progress. I spoke at the last council meeting, and I will continue to speak out until change is made. I am deeply passionate about these issues because they are personal to me. I know the faces behind these numbers. I've heard their stories at my mother's workplace, and I've seen how my partner is treated differently daily because of who they are. My emotions run high when I speak because I want a city where no one is invisible and everyone is included. I'm asking for your help, not only in passing policy, but in educating our city. Many people do not see these issues because they have never personally had experience with a marginalized community. They do not see how important these neighbors are to Waco's future. We will not have the best version of our city until every resident is valued and included. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Austin. Great timing, by the way. Is there anyone else present who'd like to speak during the hearing of visitors? Seeing no one, I'll close the hearing of visitors and go to council comments on items of community interest. Are there any announcements council would like to make? Any comments? What's happening?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have any community updates, but I did want to take a minute to thank you all for working with me. I'm recovering, and I'll be back on the dais with you. Should be first week in September, so I think that's the second meeting. But I appreciate city staff and all of my colleagues for their prayers, their meals, their warm wishes, flowers, all the things. But I'm getting better, and I hope to see you all soon. I appreciate your support, of course, in my endeavors with TML. I wasn't crying, y'all were crying, because, you know, you were saying the things, but I appreciate you. And I'm just grateful to be a part of our community and our family.
Thanks, Mayor Pro Tem Bearfield. We miss you, for sure. I'm glad at least we can see you here tonight. That's great. Do we have any other comments? I'll just say right quickly, I was honored this past weekend to be invited up to Anadarko, Oklahoma to visit the annual gathering of the Wichita, the Waco tribe meeting, which was really super cool. I was very impressed. Just a great ceremony, and got to go around and visiting the cemetery and actual burial sites of people who were born in Waco and were displaced up to Anadarko. But it was very touching, great ceremony. They allowed me to say a few words, and I was presented with a traditional a blanket thing, which was really super cool. The whole thing was nice. But anyway, I encourage everybody to go up there. It's a pretty neat experience. Any other comments? Any council comments or any requests for scheduling future agenda items?
I just want to know, I didn't notice until tonight. We've had several meetings with Councilmember Lozano, but since former Councilwoman Rodriguez's departure, you are the last member of council, Mayor, that uses "I" for your affirmative votes.
Hopefully the next council member will get in the line on that.
But to be noted, he also does not say nay when he's voting no.
Correct.
Centuries old tradition. Okay, I'll work on it. You know, I may slip up every once in a while, Darius. Any other future agenda items? Anything coming from over there? No. Okay. We will now
We'll now entertain a musical guest.
We will now recess the business session and reconvene the regular session for executive session as read into the record by City Secretary Hicks at 6:52.
Notice is hereby given that the City Council will go into executive session in accordance with the following provision. Personnel, Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 551.074, Municipal Court Judge Robert Garcia. We are now in executive session.
We'll now reconvene the business session at 8:12 PM, and there being no further business, a business session of the September, wait a minute. What is August, what is today? August, all I'm reading is the thing here. There being no further business, the business session of the August 19th, 2025 meeting is adjourned at 8:12.